Hey everybody, Chrissy's known online as Wootini, with another Gay Gamer video podcast. I went to see another movie, of course. I went to see Cocaine Bear because it looked funny from the trailers, and thankfully it was. In the beginning, I was a little concerned because the movie opens and the first victims are not particularly funny, and I was like, ooh, this is not good, this is not funny, it's not thrilling, and I thought we were in for another Megan situation. But then once those initial victims were dispatched, the throwaway characters, then they introduced the main cast of, you know, Carrie Russell and her kids and her kid and the other kid who stole the movie. Henry is freaking hilarious. Then the drug dealers and the cops and the whatever. And then it got legit funny, and I was like, oh, thank God, we're not in for another Megan situation. Obviously, it's never going to live up to the hype of Cocaine Bear. It's never going to be like that hilarious, but I laughed out loud multiple times, including one time there's a sign in the back of a shot that I read and laughed out loud, but I was the only one in the entire theater who seems to have bothered to read the sign because I was the only one that laughed, or maybe I'm the only one that found it funny. I don't know. But it's funny. There is some ridiculously over-the-top violence and gore, which is also funny. The only thing is, it had a rough start, but then it hits its stride and it's legit funny. And then it just sort of, at the end, it just sort of fizzles out, unfortunately. It just sort of gets to the end and you're just like, oh, I'm sorry, we're out of ideas, here's the end, done. And I was like, oh, that's disappointing. Because it could have been like really good if they'd stuck the landing. But alas. But it's still way better than Megan. It's way more entertaining and more fun. So I recommend it. It was a hoot. And if you see it in an audience full of people hooting along with you, it's a little better. Just, you know, don't catch COVID. And then as for games, I am still playing Fallout 4. I know, every episode I'm just like, I'm still playing it, go figure. I don't remember how long I lasted with Fallout 3. I don't know if it was this long. I feel like I probably gave it like a month or so before I finally was like, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. But I have to say that I'm still chugging along. I was a little concerned at the beginning of the week because literally everywhere I went and everything I tried to do ended with me dead in one way, shape, or form. Blown up, caught on fire, shot down, sliced in half, like whatever. I was dead. And it was getting really frustrating, and I was like, oh my God, like what the hell? And that's the problem, is that it's a open world sandbox game, so the difficulty is all over the map. Like, I know I've read that, like, the top of the map is, you know, easier than the bottom half of the map is where things get more difficult, so I've been sticking to the top half, obviously. But I was trying to cross a bridge, and, like, these super mutants freaking attack me and blow me to hell, and I'm just like, what the hell? I'm just trying to do something, like, what? So it was really getting frustrated, and I was on the verge of, like, giving up. But thankfully I tried like one more thing and I was like, okay, fine. And it was fine. Because the thing is like, I was like, oh, look, a distress call. Let me see what this distress call is all about. Oh, it's an entire place full of super mutants, which regular super mutants, okay, I can kill them. There's not too many of them. But then you have the boss super mutants, which are like insane and you can barely damage them at all. And it's like, you know, even my missile launcher wasn't helping. But then there was another one where there was a settlement and they're like, oh, hey, can you take care of these bugs? And I'm like, yeah, okay, sure. What's with the bugs? And they're like, and it's so funny because these settlements are like, we keep being attacked by these bugs. They're like right nearby and they keep attacking us. And then they're like, I'll mark it on your map. And it's like way, way far away. And I'm like, why are these bugs flying all the way over here to bother these settlers? Whatever. But I go to this beach house or whatever and like there's like 4 or 5 giant mosquitoes and I take those out and I'm done. And I finished that mission. Congratulations. And I was like, well, that was freaking easy. No super mutants or death claws or anything. Just some giant mosquitoes. Easy peasy. And that started me on a trend of like finding these side missions that were actually doable. So then I was okay. And in fact, there was a mission that I did that actually didn't encounter any combat, well, for part of it. Because I went to the Cabot House, which was, it's a very nice house. I would like to live in that one. They're very wealthy. They live well. And he sends you on a mission to go get this, like, formula, and you just basically go to this location and you kill a handful of raiders, and it was fine. And then he's like, okay, go find my sister. And then or daughter, or whatever, I don't know. They take some kind of chemical that makes them live forever, so it's hard to tell who's related to whom, how. I forget. It's a very complicated family. I don't want to get into it. But then you go to find his sister or whatever, and you go to find this woman, and you go to this bar, and you talk with some people, and they tell you where she went, so you can go get her. And while I was in there, I walked in and they're like, oh, go talk to MacReady. And I'm like, okay. So I go talk to MacReady and he's like, yeah, he's like a mercenary. And he's like, I'll totally like work for you and I'll be your gun for hire. Just give me some caps. And I actually managed to talk him down in price. And then he joined me, but I was like, no, I don't want you to join me. I like my dog. And I thought I was sending him to a settlement, but I ended up sending the dog to the settlement. And I was like, oh, well, all right, let's see what you're all about. And I don't mind him. He's fine. He has a nice laser gun, so that's helpful. But he throws in some dialogue for flavor every so often when I'm doing stuff. So, and like when I'm talking with a character, he throws in dialogue, which the dog doesn't do, but I do miss my dog. But anyway, I go and I found this woman, and you just talk this guy into letting her go. I had to threaten him, but that was fine, as long as it worked, because I didn't want to get into a big firefight. But I'm not very charismatic, so it's hard for me to get the dialogue options to give me I can't talk my way out of things, usually. But then I take her back, and I was like, that was great. There was like no combat necessary at all. It was just talking. That's fine. I enjoy that for a change of pace. Then the final part of the mission was basically, he's like, okay, follow me to the asylum because we have to stop these raiders from freeing my son, I think. And that was annoying because I was following him and I was looking at the map. I'm like, this is a long walk. Like, what the hell? And he kept getting into fights with everybody along the way. And I'm just like, this is irritating. This is going to take fucking forever. So I did a quick save, and then I fast traveled because I wasn't sure if you could fast travel, but then it worked. And he showed up, and I was like, oh, thank God. Because that would have just taken like days to get there. And I finished that, and there was like the Lorenzo Cabot with his like weird artifact on his head that gives him like crazy powers and stuff. He's in like this holding cell, and you fight your way through the whole building and through the enemies to get to the holding cell. And then basically it's like Lorenzo's like, no, set me free. And and Jack is like, no, I have to destroy him. And I'm just like, okay, look, I don't know what this guy could have given me, but I'm just like, we're not dealing with this guy and his possible telekinetic abilities. I'm going to side with Jack, and I'll just turn on the generators and you can kill him. Done and dusted. Because I did not want to deal. He would obviously have killed Jack, but I don't know if he would have turned on me. So I'm not trying to purposefully encounter a super powerful enemy if I can avoid it. But then I've been doing all these side quests. I've been, cleaning out some settlements and whatnot. And as long as I'm fighting raiders or feral ghouls or whatever, I'm okay. It's the super mutants that are still a bit of a challenge for me. Like I found this place out on the beach that was like this army base or something, and outside of it were a few super mutants, and I'm just like, yeah, I think we're good. Like, I'm not going inside. I just walked up to the building so that I could like log it on my map and discover it, and then I was like, we're out, because, I'm not fighting a building full of super mutants. I'll waste all my ammo. It would be horrible. But then I decided, after like a week's worth of doing various side quests and discovering random things and whatever, I said, let me just go to Diamond City and talk to Nick Valentine and do one of the main quest missions and find out about my son, because I don't want to get too distracted by the side quests, because when I do that in these kinds of open world games, I do all these side quests and I kind of lose track of the main mission, and then I sort of lose interest in the story, because there is no story when you're just doing random side quests. They just, you get kind of tired of doing just random stuff. You got to stick to the story to keep you going, or me anyway. It keeps me going. I don't know, your mileage may vary, but I wanted to do the main story. Again, I needed to do at least one main story thing just to keep me going in the story. And also, I need to do the main story so that I will eventually finish this game, because I've been playing it for like, I don't know, like 20 or 30 hours, and I've barely scratched the surface, I feel. There's a lot to do in here. But I would like to maybe just do the main stuff and then I can finish it and play something else, because that's if I finish it. We'll see. I think I might, though. This time around, it feels different. I'm actually in the mood to just run around killing people. It's kind of soothing in its own way. So, come back next episode and see if I'm still playing it, or if I've rage quit, or if I've played something else. I think I'm going to try something else in the meantime, but it's not going to distract me too much, I promise. I'll tell you next time, okay? Bye!